west side, rat west side. When your shots won't hit, rat west side. When it's time to quit, rat west side. Next step, rat west side, rat west side. New dog said it never meant to fly, but listen to my brother, I'll tell you all why.
OG! We definitely want to say that, you know, people don't really understand how important OG is to this positive movement, you know, and a lot of people like look at me and say like all the wonderful things of what I'm doing and attempting to do and continuing to do. But I always tell anybody, if you go back to day one, if there's no OG, there's no me. I would not have been a community activist for Skid Row if I had not come across OG. That's a beautiful brother right there. He's a beautiful brother. I love you, brother. So, you know, it was from his vision where I drafted my vision to really understand what this community was about and what this community really wanted. And so, you know, I'm just like everybody else. When I first got down there, I came to Skid Row in 2006. So I'm still new, you know, but the thing was, the fact that there were so many soldiers and so many veterans that had been in the Skid Row streets for like many, many years, decades, you know. We're lucky, and you know, even in this room, I see veterans that have been down there for years, and even before I got here. And so, but the thing was, I thought, how can I help what they're doing? How can it be like an ambassador, a mediator, to try to help spread that word on a major scale? And so, you know, we made a lot of accomplishments. We made a lot of progress, and there's still more work to be done. And so, you know, just by looking at the people in this room right here shows the progress that's been made. You know, and I just want to take this time before I get into these special awards to, you know, to acknowledge some of the other folks that are here, because, you know, we started off in Gladys Park, and Gladys Park is a public park owned by the city. Wrecking Parks, but there's nobody from Wrecking Parks here tonight that I see, but you know, definitely Department of Wrecking Parks major contributors and supporters. Matter of fact, I got a letter from them today. It's really short. The City of Los Angeles, and it's signed by the Board of Recreation and Park Commissioners, the General Manager, John Muckery, and I got this February 2nd, so this came yesterday. To General Jeff. Dear General Jeff, thank you for taking the time to write to us regarding the repairs made to the basketball backboards at Gladys Park. It is always a pleasure to pass on an acknowledgement of a job well done to the employees of the Department of Recreation and Parks. Sincerely, John Kirk Muckery, the General Manager, and Kevin Regan, the Assistant General Manager. And so we just have an ongoing dialogue, you know, working with these folks, and so that's where we're at. And I mean, that's not like, it had nothing to do with anything, but it's just the communication levels that never existed before, you know. And so it all started with the Skid Row 3-on-3 Streetball League, and that's why we're here today. And so, in addition to a Department of Wrecking Parks that owns Gladys Park, you know, SRO Housing manages Gladys Park, and so we've got Sister Lillian and Brother Terry Furlow from SRO Housing. I want to give them a hand. The wonderful folks at USEP that's right next door to Gladys Park. You know, we see Socorro and Lynn's here. You know, and just recently we had the Festival for All Skid Row Artists in Gladys Park, and that was led by Los Angeles Poverty Department. And on and on and on. So we already talked about Blaze and Skid Row Photography Club and on and on. And so that's what I talk about, where it's just the community coming together. And so that's just a tremendous compliment that all of us have something in common. And so with that, I just want to get into the awards. So the first award goes to an advisory board member of the Skid Row 3-on-3 Streetball League. That was a major important factor in terms of helping us establish the legitimacy and credibility of the entire Skid Row 3-on-3 Streetball League. And we talking about from the uniforms, you know, the referees' jerseys, the referees' whistles, you know, some real basketballs, you know, real shoes that the guys could actually, you know, wow, brand new shoes. You know, it just, you know, a lot that meant so much to our guys that you really wouldn't, you know, you might just take it for granted. But, the fact that he was even able to get Rocky Del Cadillo to come, who was the then city attorney at that time, to come and share some special moments with our guys and just give us hope and courage. And even the most memorable moment was during the All-Star game, and, brought his own grill, big jumbo shrimps and all this, just this wonderful, I don't even know what it was called. Maybe he can explain that better. He can tell the story, but I was just eating. I don't know. But it was really delicious. And with that, I want to say one of our strongest supporters that is with the Deputy City Attorney's Office. He's with the City Attorney's Office. He's Deputy City Attorney Jose Agravide.
Well, I'm honored, and I can honestly say that I took away from Skid Row 3-on-3 a lot more than I actually gave. That's my opinion, and I just want to talk a little bit about the good old days back in 2006 when I first met General Jeff and OG and Walter and Peter and Sway and a bunch of other folks, Ron, and back then, I had been assigned to Skid Row to work for the city attorney's office and spearhead a project to revitalize the area. And we were working in conjunction with Jan Perry's office and with a number of city agencies. And we're just trying to come up with a vision of how we could mix enforcement and, improving city lights and things like that, but also get more city services into the area. And I run into OG, and I'm trying to explain because I believe it or not, I walked around Skid Row and I wanted to find out who are the stakeholders out there, and I met OG, and he said, this is what we need. We need our park back, and we need to be able to to use the park. We need to have city agencies buy into what we're doing here. And I bought right into his vision. I love the idea of a 3-on-3 basketball league, and I did everything I could to try to help it flourish, or at least get started. And but I really, through it all, through the, getting my office to donate uniforms and shoes, for the initial effort, and, General Jeff and I, just without an appointment, walk into AIG, and, he's asking me, well, what are we going to say? And I said, well, we're just, the worst they could do is say no. And we just walked into their offices and said, hey, here's what we're doing, it's really exciting, and what can you guys do for us? And they said, well, we can't give you any money, but we can give you access to one of the boxes for some of the games. And we're like, that's good, that's a good way to reward some of the players. But it was really more about the personal relationships, so getting to know a lot of the players, a lot of the struggles of individuals that are in Skid Row. And that's what I'm most proud of, is the fact that, I realized that there are a lot of people in Skid Row that are really, that really needed this. And so for that, I'm really proud of OG, General Jeff, and everybody else that made this possible. I was a small part, but I'm very proud of, helping get that off the ground. And that's what I took away from the 3-on-3 league. The personal relationships, the friendships, and like I said, I learned a lot more about perseverance, and a lot of the words of the week that OG and the rest of the guys talk about. I learned about all that firsthand by watching, all the people involved with this league and how they've been able to keep this thing going. Thank you.
While we're here, Jose Agravide, City Attorney's Office, helped start the Skid Row 3-on-3 Streetball League. Right here, 2000. That was in 2007. Right now it's 2010, and he's still here. That's right. All right.
Shots won't hit, rap, when it's time to quit, rap, next step, rap, travel, nah, that's travel. No, you cannot take 3 steps after you pick your dribble. shots won't hit.